We have one right up in front.
Yeah.
We're saving it for you guys.
That seats especially for Peanut, yes.
This is great. I love to see a big crowd. Okay. Good evening. I'd like to call the monthly November meeting of the Nelson County School Board to order. So we usually, in the beginning of each night, before our meetings, we stand up and we do the Pledge of Allegiance. And this month, one of the groups that we're going to recognize are our veterans. And so we would like to ask our veterans, if they're comfortable, to come forward and start us with their Pledge of Allegiance. And even if you're not a school employee veteran, but you are a veteran of our community, please come up. We ask you all, just to get us started. We'll come help.
Yeah.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Very good. So we've got our agenda. It's up there. If no one has an addition, a deletion, anything they need to change, then if we could have a motion to approve the agenda, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay, the agenda's approved. So we're quickly moving on to what I think most people are here for, and those are our recognitions and our presentations. And I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Hester to start with One Nelson.
Yes.
Okay.
Start with One Nelson. All right, excited about this. As many of you know, we started the One Nelson Awards last year to be able to honor and recognize those individuals that promote that mentality of One Nelson, which basically means we recognize that it takes all of our people, our community, our staff members, our students, everyone, all roles, to be able to allow us to promote that environment that's going to allow students to be successful. So one of the things we want to do is make sure we have an opportunity to be able to recognize community members, students, certified staff members, classified staff members, by getting peer, community, staff, and student nominations. And I think that that's what makes this so valuable. It's not where someone in central office is just randomly selecting someone. This is coming from the heart of the people who are involved in it. So I appreciate it so much, and it's like she said, we really look forward to this a great deal. And the first individual that we want to recognize is our student. So will Ms. Macy Parmley please stand up and come join us? This is sweet. Macy was nominated by her grandmother. And so why my granddaughter, Macy Parmley, deserves this award. She is a third grader at Ty River Elementary School. We have been told by the bus driver, teachers, and parents how kind and thoughtful Macy is to the adults and students. It makes me so happy to know that she is going above and beyond to be a kind and generous child. I see this when I attend different programs for her at her school. How much she loves everyone and how they love her. So now, I also recognize that there's such a thing as grandma love. So I reached out to Ms. Coughlin, who's the principal at Ty River, who then also reached out to her teacher to be like, hey, is this legit? Because I just want to make sure. And so actually her teacher is here with us, and when we checked in with her, Ms. Coughlin's like, she's a good kid, but I'm going to check with her teacher just to double check. And so as Alan said, this is one of the most fantastic recommendations and nominations, because Macy is so caring and loving of all of her students and staff members. And then recently just took a really great picture with your custodian, right? Yes, so what a complete picture of what One Nelson is. And so we just want to thank Grandma for nominating Macy, but also Macy for everything that you do to kind of promote that positivity. And so congratulations, you are a One Nelson winner. I'll shake your hand, and then I'm going to give you your major award, okay? Wait a minute, before we do that, why don't we take a picture? So you're going to look at Ms. Baleko, and I'm going to make sure I don't hide you. Now, Mom, do you want to get a good picture?
Oh, yes.
Will it be easier for us to come closer to you? All right, hold on one second.
Way to go, Macy.
There you go, Macy. And Macy, you're gonna get this mug to put your upcoming hot chocolate in after the 80-degree day that we have today. So here you go. I'm gonna put that back in a box with its bubble wrap so I don't break it. Here you go. You got it? All right, congratulations.
Congratulations.
All right, next up is, I like to do them kind of in order. So we're just, there we go. All right. Next up, our nominee is for our community member. So will Ms. Mika Carter please come join? All right. So Mika Carter is a parent who is actively engaged in the community and the schools. She advocates for teachers, parents, and students alike. Mrs. Carter is a popular substitute teacher and also serves on the parent committee that meets with the superintendent monthly. I did right. She is an active member of the Green and Gold Booster Club and is one of the warm smiling faces for Governor fans that are greeted with the tailgate and sporting events. She serves on the Tide River PTO and Special Education Advisory Committee. And she's also working with SCHS to expand club activities for students. Mrs. Carter prefers to be behind the scenes, but her light shines so bright in the lives of others that she deserves to be spotlighted for the positive impact, unity, and love she pours into her community daily. She is a true reflection of the One Nelson spirit. So congratulations. Anybody? Okay, anybody back there? No? Okay. And here is your mug. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Thank
Mika.
you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
All right. Next up for our One Nelson Awards is for our classified staff members. Kim Davis. There you are, right in front of you. All right, so you have a couple things. So Ms. Davis is always polite, kind, and courteous. She is always looking out for the children on her bus and has a smile and a wave for the parents. She gets to know her children on the bus and their parents. My student has a lot of respect for her. She treats all students when possible with small treats, pieces of candy, popsicles, which means a lot to the students. She always has the kids' safety in mind. She is awesome. And another individual says, Kim used to work in the cafeteria where she took pride in learning each child's name to give a little personalization with each interaction. Seeing Kim would brighten up their day with the warmth that she shared. She further recognized the need for bus drivers and the opportunity to help start and end their school days on a positive note. Anyone who has had the opportunity to work with Kim can attest that her warm and caring personality, and not every kid has that at home. We want to thank Kim for taking such good care of our children and being willing to share a little bit of herself in each of us for the kids. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, like, it's perfect. There you go. There you go.
I thought it was the occasion for it.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Congratulations.
And last but not least, Ms. Rachel Spalding. All right, you get to go. All right. So I think that Rachel deserves this award as she goes above and beyond, not only in the classroom, but outside of it too. She strives to do her greatest, and you almost will never catch her without a smile on her face. Even on the tough and challenging days, she's smiling. She cares for her students as if they were her own and only wants what is best for them. She's always wanting to learn more and how she can do better, not only for her students, but for her team members as well. Rachel walks around with the character traits spewing off of her and doesn't let one day go by without showing those character traits to someone else. Rachel is one of the hardest working people I know, and I am lucky enough to see that firsthand being her sister. Nelson County is so lucky to have Rachel on their team, and I think that she is so very deserving of this award. So congratulations. Congratulations. I want to make sure you get this.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Don't go far away.
Congratulations, Rachel.
All right. also have the honor of being able to recognize our veterans. So come Saturday is Veterans Day, but since it's on a weekend, we, throughout the division, have a lot of activities planned to be able to celebrate it. We wanted to make sure that we took an opportunity tonight to be able to recognize those NCPS employees who are our veterans. But before I do that, I do want to ask, are there any veterans in the audience who are not NCPS employees? Do we have any other veterans? No?
Nope.
I will just say, I will
Yes.
recognize that, yes, we do. Some people love to stand for that. Some people are not going to do that. They're shy and bashful, but we recognize and we appreciate that commitment and dedication. But for our NCPS employees, I want to be able to recognize, we do have a couple employees that were not able to make it this evening. So I want to recognize Leslie Solier, who is a long-term substitute at the high school, for her service. I believe, I want to make sure I get that right, but her service in the U.S. Army Reserve as a captain. So I appreciate the dedication from Ms. Solier. Ms. Shemaine Day, who was a school counselor at the high school, also served as a U.S. Army specialist. So I also wanted to be able to recognize Ms. Day and her service to our country. So thank you very much, Ms. Day. But we do have some individuals that were able to make it this evening, so I want to make sure I recognize them. So Ms. Carrie Bryant, will you please? Yes, so Ms. Carrie Bryant is with us at Rockfish Elementary School, and she was with the U.S. Marine Corps Reserves as a corporal. So thank you so much. And we'll make sure we get that picture for you. Do you want to get another one up front, closer? Not you, Amber. you just got right and boxed her out. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, next individual is Mr. Daniel Stromberg. Thank you very much. Mr. Stromberg is a new teacher to us at Rockfish as a PE teacher this year, and he served in the U.S. Navy and also working with the Marines as a rank E5. So thank you so much for your service. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm going to get that back up because I've a little eager. And last but not least, Ms. Rachel Spalding, will you please join us up front? So Ms. Spalding works with us at the middle school, and we want to appreciate her service through the U.S. Navy as a second-class petty officer. Wow, gosh, thank you so much. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Again, to show my appreciation for all of our veterans, we appreciate it very much. We asked our NCPS employees to give us the names of not only those NCPS employees who served in our veterans, but also family members. So we hope to, we will show our appreciation again tomorrow as we go through Facebook to be able to post our pictures and some information about those individuals. So thank you so much for the service.
Thank you all. We know that you all love to stay through a whole meeting, but please feel free, if you were here for the presentations and recognitions, do not feel like you need to stay. You're welcome to leave at this time if you wish.
Thank you so much.
Look, they're already gone.
Bye, Chip.
They're already gone.
Bye.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you to our veterans as well.
Up to like it's amazing.
Go ahead.
Hey, Shannon, maybe we should move comments from the public up in the agenda. So, do we used to have it up there and we moved it down to make people have to stay?
I mean, that's fair.
Just
Let's
curious.
look at it next time, yeah.
I mean, because maybe somebody would.
Yeah.
That way we listen to them, they leave, and then
Yeah,
we can say what
yeah,
we want.
yeah.
Okay. Just a thought.
Thank you all.
Did we used to have
It's always so sad when everybody leaves. I feel like the good energy goes.
like these,
Um,
like under?
Not that you all don't have great energy. Not that you all don't have great energy.
I just moved it down.
Because I thought
Okay, we're down to comments from board members. So, Mrs. Claire, you always get to be the one to start us off with any comments.
Oh, and you know what? I had, like, last month, I said I was gonna say more, and I
Yes.
don't remember what it was, so there you go.
She
Um,
said,
She's good.
I do want to say thank you to all the veterans out there. Very much appreciate their service. I was not an, I was an intelligence brat, not an Army brat, but, I couldn't do the thing myself, so I appreciate other people doing it for me on our behalf. I did also want to say we had a PrEP board meeting, which PrEP is the regional program for kids with disabilities. There's like, and I let you guys know earlier that they are looking for some new space, and we've had the conversation and a tour of Rockfish possibly on the, it's very far out, I think, from now. The conversations about where that school and program may end up are definitely up in the air, and new conversations about it. But it will overall affect us because it could affect the cost of the services we get through that regional program. So I will keep you up to date on those conversations as they progress. And that's pretty much all I have. So if you have questions, let me know. I don't have something else?
Oh, thank you, Ms.
Okay.
All right, Mrs. Turner-Giles?
Yeah, so just to echo what Ms. Claire said, I think the awards and recognitions is probably the best part of this meeting for me. I just want to thank Dr. Hester for bringing One Nelson to Nelson. It has made all the difference. And, when I look at some of the people that were recognized tonight, certainly I know some of the behind the scenes things that they do for Nelson. And if people only knew that we have community members that literally pull out of their pocket money to make things happen in this school district, and they never ask for anything in return. So the least we can do is recognize their efforts, and I think this is one of many ways that we can do that. So thank you again for bringing this to Nelson.
Mr. Perkins?
First of all, I want to echo what they said about the veterans and everybody that serves the community one way or the other. I appreciate everyone coming out Tuesday on Election Day and supporting me. I, am very proud to serve for another 4 years, not only the South District, but the citizens of Nelson and this great school division that we represent. And thank y'all all for coming out this evening. Ernie, how are you? And very pleased to have y'all with us.
Thank you. And I'll echo Mr. Perkins, actually Mrs. Claire and Mrs. Turner-Giles first, to thank our veterans, to give us their right. They fight for our right to really have this meeting, and even to do things like our election to vote and people to represent our voice. So I also would like to thank the West District. I am really super proud to serve with my teammates here, and very appreciative of the opportunity to do it. So I thank the West District, and I look forward to working with all of you all the next 4 years and all the things that we can accomplish. All the things you all are already accomplishing and letting us go along for the ride. Thank you. I was able to go to the middle school play. Fabulous. You have an incredibly talented group of kids that you are working with, and to see the high school collaborate with you all, it's amazing. So well done. Congratulations. Mr. Reed and I had the opportunity to join the civics history class for a little talk on local politics, and Mr. Reed's a hard act to follow when we're talking to kids, but it was really a great opportunity to see the integration of our discussion with SOLs for those classes, and how they took the words we were saying and tied it into their lessons and what they were doing. So that was a fun day, and I thank Mr. Reed for joining us, and I thank Mr. Ragland for inviting us to come attend. It was really well done. While we were there, I also did a walkthrough with the high school, and I will say that those kids are so well behaved. I don't, they just, the classes, they were engaged, they were doing things, they were excited. It was just really good. Thank you. You've encouraged us to do those walkthroughs with you, those learning walkthroughs, and it was good to join in on that. I will tell you what I did see though, and I appreciate Mr. Reed continuing to support for the renovation, is that there really is seeing that school through eyes. I know we walked through a year ago. Those renovation issues just don't go away. So I am so proud and so happy that you all continue to invest in the infrastructure and ensuring that we've got safe schools. So thank you. And last but not least, the SBA meeting next week, so I look forward to what we will learn from that and getting through these legislative positions. So, thank you. That's it for board comments, dates. We've got some things coming up. Rockfish has their Veterans Day program tomorrow, the VSBA annual convention next week, and then of course Thanksgiving break, the 22nd to the 24th. So keep that in mind. We also start budget December, what was the date? December 14th. We begin the next meeting with a work session and school board budget input. So just keep that in mind. It's that time of year again. As we get done, we start again. So any other dates I need to remind people of?
I have a couple dates, but not necessarily that fall in that category.
Okay, I can share.
I can share. Yeah.
Okay. And I think that is it. Dr. Hester, we're going to hand it over to you then, and you can talk about dates and whatever.
All right. So congratulations to our school board members who were reelected for another 4 years. We appreciate your dedication and support of our students, staff, and community. So I do greatly appreciate that. During the week of November 6th to the 10th, which is this week, our schools nationwide celebrate National School Psychology Week. So thank you to Chrissy Tiora, who's our school psychologist. We've also recently, through our prep program, of which Ms. Claire was referencing, we're also able to get some assistance of Nancy Cornell to assist with evaluations and things of that nature as a school psychologist. So we appreciate those supports because we are seeing an increase in some behaviors, particularly at our younger grades, our younger students in lower grades. And so we do see an uptick in some of the more, attention intensive behaviors at that level. And so getting these extra supports like an added behavioral specialist, getting the support from an additional school psychologist to be able to support us is really, really important in order for us to really be able to support our students, but to support our instructional staff as well. So we appreciate that greatly and being able to provide that. Veterans Day is this Saturday all throughout the division. There are various activities taking place, things like celebrating the democratic process like we had Tuesday, not only a division holiday, it was election day, but it's also the week we have Veterans Day. So a lot of things taking place. The Veterans Assembly will be, I believe, at 9:30 yes. Tomorrow, 9:30 at Rockfish. So we're pretty excited about that. That's always a pretty big event. I really enjoy being able to meet with staff and students throughout the division. I had a great opportunity to spend the day at Rockfish having individual one-on-one meetings with staff, but also at Ty River. I will be at the middle school tomorrow and the high school on Monday. But then another thing that I look forward to is I also have a superintendent student advisory group that I like to be able to sit and have conversations with to get the student experience, ideas for how we can make it better, things that are going well, just the life of our students. And so you guys serve this capacity. I know Mr. Walker likes to work with students, but I also like to get in there and be able to meet, and I'll be able to have a chance to do that on Monday, November 20th. So I'm really looking forward to that. Other dates kind of importance is Wednesday, November 15th is Education Support Professional Days. So we talk about Wynn Nelson and we talk about the importance and the role of everyone. So Wednesday, November 15th is Education Support Professional Days. Thursday, November 16th is National Parent Involvement Day. So, we again talk about Wynn Nelson as making sure that everybody is a part of this. And then Friday, November 17th is Substitute Educators Day. So this is the month to be able to celebrate all those educators. And last but not least, obviously we have Thanksgiving break coming up pretty soon. It'll be here before we know it. I think we had a principals meeting today where I think we have, 22 days until winter break. 2 school days. That's going to go by very, very quickly. So we're excited about all that's taking place here in Nelson and just look forward to finishing out the semester strong. And we're entering into the budget season.
Thank you. Any questions for Dr. Hester or comments? Thank you for that. So we're down to student reps, and you all have got lots to catch up with us up on. I think there's lots been happening at the high school, so if I can hand the floor over to you all.
So we have a musical coming up. It's Mom and Dad this year, and that's going to take place March 8th through the 10th. We also have tryouts for winter sports, which consists of girls basketball cheer, basketball, and then track.
There's also an exciting weekend for advanced drama at the high school. The 1F1 sub-regionals, and we'll be going on to regionals, and we had 3 of the students win acting awards, and that was very exciting. And also congratulations to the middle school musical. I got to go out and see it, and I really enjoyed it. It was at the 5th this year, and it was really good.
Okay, thank you guys. We appreciate it. So we're kind of through all the comments, but we are to public comments. Mrs. Ponton, do we have any? We have 2 sets of public comments tonight. We've got the pre-budget public hearing comments as well as just our regular public comments. Yeah. Okay.
So you have to open the hearing and then get the comments and then close the hearing. But not the regular comments.
Yeah, so we're gonna do the pre-budget public hearing comments, and so we're going to open up, do we need a motion to open? So can I have a motion to open up the public hearing comments for the budget?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You want to abstain? Okay. Public hearing comments are open. Did one person signed up for, no, 2 people for the pre-budget hearing. Mr. Ernie Reed, you're the first. I'll ask you to come forward, state your name, your address, and you'll have 3 minutes to say your words.
Thank you. My name's Ernie Reed. I live at 971 Rainbow Ridge Road in the Central District, Faubre. Congratulations, Ms. Powell, Mr. Perkins, for winning your elections. Very, very pleased with that. But this is about the budget. Now, it's not appropriate for me to give you a wish list of all the things you should be spending money on, so I won't do that. But you have your school board association meeting coming up. We have our Virginia Association of Counties meeting coming up this weekend and first of next week. And I'm on the Education Steering Committee. So there's a couple of things that I've been talking with with the leadership in that committee about that I wanted to let you know because I think it meshes really well with this. First of all, problems with Virginia's K-12 funding formula, which we're all familiar with, and the composite index. That's something that a lot of other supervisors and elected officials from other counties are really concerned about. Certainly I am too. So that's one of the things we're going to be discussing in our legislative agenda for next year. So just wanted to let you know about that. The JLARC study it has really good recommendations in that and has good information that I've looked at. I think more importantly to me is the funding of the state budget, because what we find out every year is that the state doesn't finalize their budget, and we don't get to find out to what degree they're going to be able to fund public schools, not just before the Board of Supervisors has to decide what we're going to be able to do to help you all, but before you are able to figure out what to do. So that puts all of us behind an 8 ball, because I know you have to get, you have contracts to get out to teachers and all sorts of commitments that you have to do without knowing exactly how you're going to pay for what you want to do, and it's really difficult for all of us. So that's one of the things that I am bringing up in that committee, and we're going to be talking about it, and I'm not sure exactly how it's going to play out, but I'm looking forward to seeing what y'all's legislative agenda is and see how it meshes with ours. And if any of you have any ideas or suggestions or want to discuss any of these things with me before this weekend, let me know, and I'll bring it with me when I go to the VACO meeting this weekend. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Thank you very much, Mr. Reed. Ms. Crystal Vest?
My name is Crystal Vest. I reside at 268 Village Road, Shipman, Virginia. I am before you today as I serve as the Division Behavior Specialist, and I am also a licensed Virginia Board of Counseling Clinical Supervisor. Last year, I started actively attending the school board meetings, and over the past year to present, there has been a lot of discussion about mental health and behaviors, and most recently, trauma-informed practices. For the past 4 years, I have served as the Division Behavior Specialist, and during the pandemic, I implemented a mental health counseling curriculum that met the guidelines for the Virginia Department of Education standards. I'm here today in regards to the budget as the needs for mental health and behavioral health continue to rise, not just in Nelson County, but throughout the region and throughout the state. We have received positive feedback since implementing the additional behavior specialists with the support of the board, Dr. Hester and Ms. Rutherford. So, you know, I'm here because when you see that impact from something being implemented, it also takes, the quality of the service that you're providing to the student as well as support to the staff, and then just being able to serve at the capacity that's best fitting for the student as well as the staff. So we are seeing that impact already. So I'm here to strongly advocate because there is a continued need in that area, and those needs will continue to grow. I know that there have been multiple conversations, but I wanted to speak before you today because I am one of the people who are in the trenches with the Student Service Department, so I see a lot of those things, and just want you to know that we are grateful for the additional support, and the needs are being better met when you have that additional person, and the resources that will need to continue to function at the best capacity for our staff and our students. It not only helps our students, but it also helps our staff, everybody's overall well-being when you're looking at mental health and behavioral issues. So I just wanted to speak before you today, as I said, as someone who's in the trenches doing that work. I know you guys have done a lot from your standpoint to support in that capacity, but I appreciate what you have done and continuing to move forward with that position. Thank you.
No one else to speak for pre-budget hearing, then I need a motion to close the pre-budget hearing.
I make a motion, we close the pre-budget hearing.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anyone abstain? The budget hearing's now closed, pre-budget hearing. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you. So we also have for non-agenda items our next public comments. Ms. Crystal Vest, did you want to?
Oh, I didn't know it's on the side, I'm sorry.
That, you know, you are fine. Look, you,
It's okay.
Come up and say
you're
it
welcome
again.
to come on back
Say
up
it
and
again.
speak again. Thank you. Thank you, guys. So barring any other public comments for people who perhaps didn't get a chance to sign up, then we will head on to our consent agenda. Any questions in regards to items on the consent agenda? We've got the registers from October 2023 as well as the meeting minutes from the second reading from September 14th. Any questions? Okay. Barring any questions, can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as a whole?
I make the motion to approve the consent agenda as a whole.
Perfect. May I have a second?
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anyone abstain? Consent agenda is approved as a whole. Thank you, guys. So first item for information that we've got down is the first reading of the school board minutes from the October 19th meeting. If you have any questions, same thing. Any questions, anything that needs to be adjusted, please reach out to Mrs. Ponton and let her know prior to the second reading, please. And then our next item is Mrs. Knight is going to come talk to us about a field trip request.
So I know that it's in Word docs, so I have paper copies for you if you wanted to look at those. So we know that COVID affected a lot of things, and one of the things that it had the greatest effect on was international travel. And so what I'd like to do is see if we can't get that back. And so what I'm proposing is for the spring break 2025 to take a group of between 12 and 30 students to England for, it's technically an 8-day trip, but 2 of those days are travel. So it would be a 6-day trip. And they would go to see Stonehenge, they would see the Tower of London, Parliament, get to see the changing of the guard. And so and get to see Stratford-on-Avon, Shakespeare's home. And so what I'd like to do is to make it available to students who have participated in social studies classes, government, and even world history. I mean, that's every student actually, but students in drama and English students. 12, English 12 is British literature, and so with a focus on students who have an interest in those fields, and working with those other departments to develop the trip. And so I will say that the trip is $3,700 per student. And so one of the reasons why I'd like to look at that now is to be able to get interest and see if it's something that there is interest for, and then start fundraising. My goal would be to try to raise enough money to take $1,000 off of each student's cost, if possible. So that's, yeah, get going on that earlier.
Any questions for Mrs. Knight? I think what she's looking for is some guidance to be able to move forward. We do have it down as an action item later. It's not to approve the initial planning of the trip.
Right, I want to be able to, can I have an interest meeting and see if the interest is there for a trip?
Do we need to approve that? Or
I think because it was an international trip,
Yeah.
and it takes
We've done it
just
in the past.
Yeah.
We do need
All right.
to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a
So
question.
you
Point.
mentioned that you were going to look at government classes. I can't remember all of what you listed, English 12, some other things. And there's a cap of 12?
No, what I was thinking is if we looked at trying to have 12 in the sense of the bigger concern is, I mean, we could go smaller, but I'm looking for 12 to 30 is
12 to
the
30,
idea.
okay.
I think that would be a good group size in that range.
Yeah.
Minimum being 12.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, good. Because I want, if this is approved, I want to make sure that we cast a wide net.
Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons I was looking at that.
If people have an interest,
Yes.
then we don't in any way block their interests.
100%.
And we find a means of getting as many people
Yes.
there as possible.
If it goes over 30, they have to do a separate tour group. So the reason why I looked
Yes.
at 30 was to keep them within one group.
That makes sense. Okay. Love the idea.
And I think if they get to 30, if you have more than 30 that are true, like you may have 50 show up initially, then what does it got down to? Then maybe we discuss like
What the options are.
how do you,
Yeah. And I mean, of course, I'd want to raise as much money as possible to help defray the costs. But like I said, to have a goal, I mean, if you have 30 students going, that's $30,000 to raise in a year and a few months. So I think that would be
It's a lot of brownies.
pretty big, yeah.
It's a lot of brownies.
Yeah.
Other questions? We want to have enough information to at least be able to let her move forward or say, no, whatever her thought is. So ask questions.
No, I think it's a great idea. It reminds me there's a class, or it used to be anyway, a class out of ODU that I think it was going around to the Harry Potter sites or something like that. So it was like reading Harry Potter and then going to all the places that they went to. And so, I'm totally interested. I'll go.
EF is the tour company that BRVGS, I mean, this is
Yes.
their thing.
Yes,
So
this is,
we are
it's
working
a fully established, and Nelson County has used them for previous trips as well. And the other thing is that money includes airfare. It doesn't include getting to the airport, but it includes airfare, and it includes the hotels, and it includes the tickets to go to the places and the meals. And so it's a fully comprehensive package.
That's good.
That tour group is also one that's sponsored throughout many different organizations in Virginia. That's all these different things. Because of the strong support of the educational piece, as you can see through the different locations.
Yeah.
And what I appreciate is it's not just for one group. you know, you have all these different historical, whether they're government-based and what our government's, you know, has some reflections of, or our history beginning, but also Stonehenge, like some of the world history pieces of it. So there's a little bit of something for everyone, so I appreciate that.
I love it. I think it's great.
Yep, good.
I will be voting no.
Thank you. Thank you for taking this on. We
Thank
appreciate
you,
it, and
absolutely.
thank you for offering this
So
opportunity.
I will, yeah, awesome. I will work with the other teachers to get together information out to parents for an interest meeting.
Yes.
And we'll go from there, and I'll keep you
So
posted.
what we'll do, and we've got it on an item for action, just to approve moving forward, we're beginning to investigate and plan the trip, and then.
And it would count for 8th graders this year, right? Because they would be 9th graders next year, or?
I think that what we'll do, because I don't want to go to 8th grade this year, but I think that what we could do is when the school year starts, look and see where we are. I'd like to, as much as possible, draw from the high school now, but I think that if we had openings, then we could look at that, I think, just because they won't have had the classes yet.
Oh, okay, all right, okay.
But,
Fair enough.
But it doesn't mean that it wouldn't be valuable if we had some really mature 9th graders next year where the parents said, yeah, we'd actually like to, we see you have openings. You know, they're in world history, they love world history, you know, I mean, we could talk about that.
Remember back in the day, it used to be every other year, there was a Spanish trip, or.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice to bring that back.
French.
Yeah, agreed.
France.
Thank you, Mrs. Knight.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Campbell, you're going to give us an update on some capital improvements.
I just want to get you guys caught up on some things that are going on at the schools. To start off with the roof project. So they were able to transition to the middle school side this week, actually last week, and they broke it down in sections. There's a picture coming up I can show you once we get down to that point. It's section 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is what's left. Actually, we're down to 5 sections left. So this is one here over top of the middle school offices. They have completed this as of yesterday. We have moved on to the gym today. And so while we're here, I'll talk, these are the kettle placements, where they're placing the kettle. Right now, we're behind the school here. Once we get to this section 3, they will move back up front and place the kettle, these 2 locations. We've tried our best to try to limit the kettle to the front of the school as we can. If you look here, this is section 5. This is the only remaining section we have at the high school to do. This is over top of the office area, the science rooms. The kettle placement for here is actually close to the front doors because there's no other way to access this section of the roof. I've worked with the roofers, and what we're going to do is actually do this section during Thanksgiving break where there's no students in the building. So they're going to move the kettle here, and then hopefully they will wrap this up before students come back, or at least be ready to wrap it up once everybody comes back from Thanksgiving break. So, yeah. So we've, as I said, they started today actually on the gym roof. They actually added another crew to the roof project starting this week. They're actually starting, as you can see here, they're putting the metal cap around the school now in the previous phase. So they're wrapping up that section as they're moving along. Their goal here is to try to finish all of this section before the testing starts in December. So they added an extra crew. So the beating and banging should be done by the time we start testing in December. Okay.
And I will say, I appreciate, we were able to have a meeting with high school, middle school admin and the lead group with Garland and Niscola, and say, these are our dates, this is what we need. And they are very receptive of, we need to be mindful about, you know, construction noise to a construction worker is not the same as construction noise to a 12-year-old in a math class that doesn't want to be in the math class. So they've been pretty understanding, and they work with us when we try to let them know, hey, we have testing going on, we can't do these things, we'll try to move things as best we can, but you need to know. So I appreciate they're flexible, and they try to work with us, and that's exactly what you want in that kind of partnership. So.
One thing I do want to talk about, we've been talking about substantial completion in November. Last week during that meeting that we had, it sounds like we're now into December with substantial completion. That means all of the metal work, and they're actually putting new ladders, access ladders on the roof as well. If you've been up a couple of them, you'll understand while we was pushing to put new ones on. So anyway, that's total substantial completion and then off the premises. So I'll keep you guys updated as we progress along. Hopefully the weather will behave and we can get this thing wrapped up by December. They have employed landscape creation appreciations. So this was the original staged area where they put the material. Is behind the high school area there. As you can see, that was a mess. They creation appreciation come this week, and they reseeded it. They actually tilled all of this area to soften it back up where the action is taking place. So everything is seeded and strawed now. So it looks a lot. It's major improvement into the back. And I guess I just want to talk a little bit about the Rockfish HVAC issues. We were actually able, Honeywell was actually able to put the last compressor in Monday. So all of our units at Rockfish are now back to running 100% capacity. So
Good job.
that was a struggle the past month or two to try to get all that done, but we actually wrapped it up Monday. So yeah. Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Campbell? Good job.
Thank you so much.
You've done a great job.
All right, thank you.
That roof on track.
Thank you.
All right, Mrs. Amber Baleko, if you're going to give us an update on the Governor's Pride School.
Good evening. All right. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Hester. Thank you very much for the opportunity this evening to come in and talk about a couple of our alternative paths to success. This started out as an update on our Governor's Pride School, GPS, but we have some other things going on that we're very excited about and wanted to be able to share with you guys. So the Governor Pride School is an alternative program that we refer to as GPS. And it was established to help students find an academic path to achieve success when some behavioral setbacks have resulted in a suspension greater than 10 days. Typically, we have students spend about 45 days in the program. This is one of the 3 programs tonight that is down in the lower section of the high school, affectionately known as the basement or the dungeon. The program currently has 1 full-time teacher who has a background in English and special education. We do have one shared instructional assistant that is covering all 3 programs. And to date this year, we have had 8 students in person in the program and 1 student virtually because of some extenuating circumstances. Now, these 8 students, they haven't all been there at the exact same time. There has been some transition in and out depending on start dates and end dates for those students. For the academic and the instruction portion of the program, we are using Edgenuity, which is an online platform to deliver the instruction. Edgenuity is one of the platforms that the Virginia Department of Education has approved school divisions to use for instruction. The good thing, though, is one of the things that Edgenuity does is they then go in and take their curriculum and they align it to the SOLs. And we just learned today they have gone back in a second time and have aligned the curriculum to the CIP. And since we are a division that uses the CIP, that was some very great news that Mr. Walker and I received today. So we do know that the students are getting the right content. In the spring of this year, I was able to work with the core content area teachers at both the middle school and the high school to then take this curriculum, and not that we needed to align it, but we needed to rearrange the ordering of the content because we wanted to make sure that when students go downstairs, they're learning the same stuff at the same time, so there's a minimal interruption to their instruction. So we were able to get that done across the 4 core areas in economics and personal finance, and that has really helped to streamline getting students into the program and out of the program and letting them continue to be academically successful. Unfortunately, Edgenuity is not available for all courses, so when we do look at our PEs and some of our elective courses, it's not an option. So at that point in time, our one GPS teacher does work with the high school teachers and continues to provide instruction on an assignment coordination. Students receive individual assistance from the GPS teacher when they are struggling with concepts. So the nice thing about Edgenuity is the instruction is there. It is, they read information, they read articles, there are videos, there's demonstrations, and then they have assignments. But if they're struggling with the concept, the GPS teacher is able to provide that additional layer of support so that the students can master those skills before they move on. I'm down there all the time. I let those students know that I become a thorn in their side to check on them so that we can make sure that they are making progress, that they are behaving, they are following the rules, but also that personal touch so that they're not forgotten being downstairs in that lower level of the building. And then any student that has an IEP or a 504, their case managers are checking in on them, typically on a weekly basis as outlined and as needed. Very happy to say that this year we're seeing some really good results with the way the program is running. All of our students have been maintaining passing grades on their coursework, 60 or higher, which is fantastic. And all of them are maintaining an on-track progress. So the program sets daily goals for the students and what they need to accomplish so they're on track to complete the assigned work during that 45-day period. And the students have been responding very well to that, and it has been working. Those students who have transitioned back up to the high school, all of them were successful in completing all of the assigned work to them, and all of those students continue to be on track to continue to earn the credits this semester for graduation. So we're really happy to see such positive results. In addition to the academics that are downstairs in the Governor Pride School, we also have a focus on the Virginia 5 Cs, which VDOE has put out, and we are putting into our profile of a Nelson County graduate. So I've been working with the GPS teacher to make sure that we are implementing daily activities that are focusing on those 5 Cs. She also has a trauma-informed background, and so she's also incorporating social emotional learning. So the students are doing activities like, how do you resolve conflict? How would you handle this type of situation? What's a good method for handling a difficult situation, or if somebody were to approach you? And so the students go through some different role playing and some different modeling, and what we hope is that they'll then take these skills and they will grow as individuals, and then we'll implement them when they're back upstairs. There is also some citizenship that goes on, and so I was able to get some pictures of some of the kindness rocks that they've painted. And one of the things that they did when they identified their personality types is each student picks out a quote that resonates with them, and then they have put them on the walls as a motivation for them. And so these are just a couple pictures of some of those quotes that students have selected to have posted in the room. A new program that we're also offering downstairs is our credit recovery program. This program also uses the Edgenuity platform, and it is used to help our students stay on track to graduate on time with their original cohort. And what we're doing is we're offering them another opportunity to earn back credits in classes that they may have previously failed. We realize that although we offer summer school, it is not necessarily an option for every student and every family. So this year, if we had students that had failed or had been retained 2 or more classes last year, they would be a candidate to look to possibly recover those 2 credits during this semester, which would then give them 5 credits instead of just the 4, putting them ahead, getting them back on track. We're also using this program for some of our mid-semester transfers. When we have students transfer to us on a 7-period day, we end up in a little bit of a pickle, and so we're able to use the Edgenuity for a couple of classes so that they don't lose all of their credits until we get to semester time, and then we can get them into their semester classes looking in the spring semester. We have one full-time teacher who is covering the credit recovery program, who has a special education background, and then the shared instructional assistant that works with the Governor Pride School also works with these students. Again, this program uses Edgenuity. The individual assistance, again, the students are able to get individual assistance when they get stuck on a concept or a topic from both the teacher and the IA that is down there. There are daily check-ins and progress monitoring, not only by the teacher, by administration. The counselors are down there, and we are starting to definitely see a very positive impact, which should benefit our on-time graduation rates. Now, this program is bigger than the Governor Pride School. We currently have 22 students over the 4 blocks of the day. 13 of those students were identified over the summer as either being retained, not on track for graduation, or somewhere along the way they were missing at least 2 courses that we could offer them through the Edgenuity program. And we have 9 mid-semester transfer students right now who we have down there trying to recover some credit so that they don't lose everything coming to us being on a 4x4 schedule. So to date, of the 22 students, they're actually enrolled in 41 classes because a lot of these students up here qualified for more than 1 class. 3 students have already completed 4 classes successfully and have earned back those credits. And as much as I would like to say we're going to have 100% success rate, realistically, looking at where our students are, we are anticipating an 86% success rate for students successfully completing the courses that they have been assigned. And for this being the first semester, I'm happy with that. Room for growth, but a great place to start. We also have our Individual Student Alternative Education Plan, the ISAEP program, which is known as the GED program. This is also going on downstairs at the same time. And this is a way to help some of our at-risk students who have unfortunately are in a situation where they're not going to be able to graduate, to help them work towards the GED test so that they can get their general educational equivalency diploma. The same teacher that does the credit recovery program is also working with these students. And again, the same shared instructional assistant is also helping these students as well. We did enroll 4 students. 1 graduated last week, so we're very, very proud of him. And this program will also use that Edgenuity online platform because that program does have some GED test prep material where when the students take their pre-test for the GED, we can find out the areas where they are lacking some skills or struggling a little bit, and we can actually customize coursework through the Edgenuity platform to identify those areas of weakness so that we are preparing those students to be as successful as possible the first time they sit for those tests. So I would say overall that we're seeing a lot of positive impact and a lot of success in these programs. So then the question becomes, well, why? Like, what is so different if you have these kids downstairs 1, 2, some 4 blocks a day? For some of these students, they are thriving with that online learning experience. They really like the structure. They know they go down there, it's very quiet, it's very small. They have daily check-ins. They have personal goals. They have daily goals. But they're not left to their own devices. Like, we are constantly on top of them. We're constantly checking on them. But with that one-on-one type of feel where it is those individualized conversations, it is looking to see if you need help, what can I do to help you? It is self-paced, but they're progress goals that they're making. And we're developing those relationships with those students. And for some of these students, this is the first time that they are actually seeing success in schooling. And that is nice to see when they realize, and the smiles on their face when they realize that they're getting to where they need to be. And now all of a sudden, graduation is becoming more of a reality for them. So how are we doing that? Number 1, these students are not forgotten. That is one of the fears that our students will have when they find out that they're going to be going down into that lower area. Like, oh, you're going to put me in the basement, nobody's going to remember me. But you're not forgotten. I do make it a priority to get down there every day. I can't always get down there every single block, but again, I'm a thorn in these kids' side, constantly on them, checking in on them, seeing how they're doing them, holding them responsible for their success, and making them an active member in their learning. They celebrate down there the small wins. And then all the students get to participate in that. They will do things like countdowns. How many more days do we have to get this done? We've seen some students who have academically struggled and avoided class at all costs now are in friendly competitions with each other to see who can be the furthest along in their course with the highest grade and who's in the lead. And then the power of a sticker chart for a high school student has been very, very amazing, but it works. And I would say that the feedback has been very positive from everyone. We have a lot of students tell us they don't want to go back upstairs. They like it. Why can't we have more of this? We have parents asking, are you sure you don't have a program like this that's not with GPS, that's not discipline based? Can my student stay down there? And even the teachers upstairs are starting to see that the kids are not coming back behind. They're not coming back lost. They're coming back, some of them, a little bit stronger than when they went down there. So it has been very, very positive, and we appreciate the fact that we've been entrusted to try some of these programs to meet the different needs of our students, to give them some of those alternate paths to success. Does anybody have any questions?
I just want to say, the crack that they could slip through gotten very small. So I appreciate that
We hope
part
so.
of this program, because we are not losing a lot of kids that could slip through the cracks. So we appreciate the work y'all do.
Thank you. That is our goal.
This is phenomenal.
Thank you.
I appreciate the update, and I agree with Caesar. I know that when we first talked about this program, there was a lot of angst. I know I had it, because I worried, what would it be like downstairs? And then more importantly, what would those success rates look like? And I think you have demonstrated that very evidently today, so thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Certainly, the credit recovery program, that's phenomenal. That is phenomenal. And I loved it when you talked about it for the students, but I didn't think about it for the transfer students.
Yeah.
And how sometimes they miss out
Yep.
when they come in or when they go out.
Yep.
And this is an opportunity for them as well. So I
Yep.
love it that you're not just utilizing it for one thing, you're seeing that there's another avenue where we can help students in another way.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
you.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
Please continue to share these updates.
Thank you.
Can we expand it? One of the things we talked about, and it's putting words, it's putting action behind the words, is we said we've got to meet every kid where they need to
Where
be
they
met.
are.
Where
Where
they
they
need to be
are.
met. And this really is a program that takes a group of kids that could have easily gotten lost in the system and behind, and they're not just surviving, it sounds like they're really thriving within the system, and that's a huge credit to you all running that program. When we were touring the high school the other day, Dr. Hester and I actually got to see the student they were talking about that graduated. And I'm not kidding you, when you could see this young man's face, it was just probably one of the biggest things for him in his life at this point. He was so excited, came back 4 or 5 times by us, because every time he came back, we were like, go, go, go. But the program didn't stop there. He's got an internship lined up, a work-based internship. Like it's not just you're gonna leave with skill sets that are gonna set you up for the rest of your life. And that's something super special. So congratulations. Thank you.
And that was definitely a joint effort. We appreciated Taylor Ashley at Transportation being willing to think outside of the box to provide the internship opportunity for that student, which hopefully will be starting next week. So we're excited about
Life
that.
skills.
Yeah, definitely. So the feedback portion, are you getting feedback, not just from the teachers, but from the students and from the parents?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good.
Yes, ma'am. When we have a student go into the GPS program, there is an intake meeting where the student and the parent come in and meet with me. Typically, we have a counselor there, and we have the GPS teacher come upstairs, and that's where we hear a lot of the angst and concerns. But then our GPS teacher does do weekly touch bases and communications with the parents to keep them updated. And then at the end of the 45 days in the GPS program, we do a transition meeting where we have the parent come back in and the student come back in and the counselor, and we talk about what is it going to look like now that the student's coming back upstairs and what supports we can put into place. And that's when you start hearing the difference between the concerns that they had and now almost like the sadness that it's coming to an end, because they've really embraced the opportunity. And with the credit recovery program, the students that initially went in over the summer, we did reach out to all the parents and explain to them when you see your child's schedule, this is what you're going to see, and this is what it means, and this is why we are doing it. And a lot of positive feedback from the parents, and it's something we've continued to explain with our transfers coming in so that they understand. And most people are very curious and very excited to see what it looks like for their students.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Anybody?
No, I mean, I'm so pleased. Thanks.
Thank you.
And this is a labor of love.
Yeah.
So when we, kind of new superintendent last summer started looking at some of the discipline data, some of the experiences of our students, it was glaringly obvious, like we need to do something different. And, you know, Dr. Cox, in his tenure here, has started to implement something. And so taking that concept and really growing it, and this GPS doesn't look necessarily exactly what it looked like last year. It was built from the things that had begun, and so it is a labor of love. Individuals have participated in this, thinking outside the box, because one of the things we said last year in the summer is we have got to try to give our students the most opportunities for success and work with them. They're our kids. We love them. Poor decisions, good decisions, great decisions. We love them. We want to set them up for success. And we started talking about what can our alternative ed look like? What can it look like? And so we start to see the evolution and adding these opportunities because we see the need, but we see the success. And you'll see a picture of that individual a little bit later, and you will see what pride looks like in an accomplishment, and not only on the student, but some other individuals that were involved with it. So it is important to have programs like this so our students don't feel like we've given up on them. We've had students who have transitioned back and really taken wonderful advantage of the opportunities and learned and grew and really made something. And so they trust us to not let them go. And that, I think, is important as a reflection of the efforts of the individuals working with it is, you know, these students feel like I'm down here. But we've developed that trust level of we're going to get you where you need to be. You do your part, we're going to do our part, and you're going to be successful. So I appreciate the efforts of everyone who's involved in it because it is transportation. It is, you know, everybody involved in it because they want to support, and it was important to make sure that they didn't get forgotten. They get services, they get supports that go just beyond someone lets you plug in and do your ingenuity. There is some SEL, there's some citizenship, there's some 5 C's. There's a lot going on, and so I just appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's hard to follow with some VSBA legislative positions.
I know.
So we have, thank you, Mrs. Vallejo, you're a tough act to follow. We have 4 legislative positions that the VSBA Legislative Committee has passed forward to us as a board to decide how we would like to represent that policy for Nelson County, or how to vote on that policy for Nelson County at the VSBA meeting next week. There were multiple other policies that were not passed forward. Those are in this package you've been given. But the 4 that we're going to talk about tonight, we've been through this before. We've been together for a while now, a few of these. But what I am looking for from the board as we go into the meeting next week is, as a consensus under items for action, do we as a board want to vote in favor or not in favor of these legislative positions when they're brought forward? The first one is tied to school facility construction funds and financing. And really the addition, it's an existing amendment with some proposed new language that really highlights specific incentives for safety, security upgrades to better protect students and staff. So again, it takes the lobbying we're doing for school funding, but adds in language for specifically security and safety. I don't know if there are any questions or any discussion on that. It's a pretty straightforward policy. Again, it takes an existing one and just adds a line of language into it. What I will ask is that when we get into the items for action portion of this, that we as a board say, yes, we agree, no, we don't agree. So any questions on that policy? Okay. The second proposed policy is, again, taking a current proposal or proposed position and amending it slightly. This is tied to employee criminal background checks. And the vehicle that the state is beginning to utilize for background checks is changing through the FBI. It is something called NGI, Next Generation Identification. And there is a fair amount of cost associated with that, but the more people who utilize that system, the more effective that system is. Yep. So what this proposal is asking for is that that be funded fully by the state. So again, straightforward, existing amendment, just with that language added in, that the state fund this new NGI technology. Any questions on that one? Okay. So the third legislative proposal is actually a proposed new legislative position, and is tied to school zone safety standards. It supports additional local authority and flexibility in setting safety standards in school zones. So really, again, part of the VSBA stance is that let's give power back to the local boards to make decisions tied to the schools. And again, this is just with the ability to talk about speed zones, to talk about crosswalks for students. But again, empowering the local boards to make those decisions tied to school safety zones. Any questions on that one? So this next one is also a proposed new legislative position, judicial enforcement of truancy. And this was a really interesting proposal and very, in my opinion, very well said in the sense that the VSBA strongly encourages judicial proceedings to follow a standard timeline with automatic actions taken at each step of the truancy timeline. The courts have established outcomes prescribed by the Code of Virginia and Virginia legal statutes that allow for specific actions in relation to truancy matters for both the student and the parent guardian. The request is that a firm, fair, and timely implementation of those outcomes be standardized and practiced in each courtroom in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And so what VSBA and the legislative group has said, and I believe this was presented by Tazewell County, is that there are inconsistencies across the state on how truancy is handled, with the expectation that some of that fall back on the schools with enforcing those rules, and that's not the school responsibility. That should really fall under judicial responsibility. So any questions tied to that legislative position? And again, that's a new one. First two are amendments, second two to existing stances. The last two are new proposals. And then you'll see on the back of that packet, there's several that, as I said, did not make it through the committee. So during the delegate assembly session, we will not talk about those as a group because it is highly unlikely that to get pulled back onto the floor, we'd have to have 2/3 of it. I mean, it's a process that being struck down unanimously by the committee is unlikely to happen, but should something get pulled up, then I will immediately get in touch with you all to find out what our stance as a board on is for that particular proposal. But for now, it will be only those 4 that we will talk about from a consensus standpoint. And I did go back and look, did we vote? Did we do a consensus? And historically, we've done a consensus on these proposals. So, yeah, okay. All right, so that's good for that information. If barring any questions, we will move on to Dr. Hester and her pathways to success.
All right, thank you very much. All right, getting started on our pathways to success. We start, oh, hey, how about that? All right, there we go. So we start first with Ms. Irvin and the general oversight of the Department for Administration and finalizing per pupil allocations for the schools. We reported in our last school board meeting updates on our enrollments, and then now we shift into finalizing the per pupil allocations. Also following up on environmental concerns related to high school roofing project, making sure that we're in communication with Garland, and making sure that all of our products and materials are what we need to be using, and making sure that quelling any kind of health concerns. Insurance claims for student accident injuries, making sure we're always staying on top of those claims. Background checks for volunteers and following up on concerns as we bring individuals into our building, and also approving fundraisers. So it's kind of a slow time, if you will, before we head into the prime spot of the budget season for Ms. Irvin. In terms of instruction, Nelson BR VGS, that is a governor's school, informational meeting was held at the middle school for the families who are interested on October 23rd. October teacher professional development, we're in the conference season at upper levels and professional development seasons for everyone else. And so a wide variety of options and resources like Promethean board software training, 5 Cs with the VASCD, English and science walkthroughs, be able to get collaborative training and feedback from that. We had a Title I parent meeting taking place, school data meetings, planning for the All In Virginia plan that we've heard so much about in the news, and then also meeting with literacy partnerships to begin to continue our literacy plans that is also aligned in promoting VLA. School improvement plans have been submitted, and they will be finalized and then be a part of the comprehensive plan. So we had a lot of Halloween fun at the middle school, the Ty River and Rockfish. Appreciate everybody who participated in Trunk or Treat. That was a great time. And then Nelson and VASCD training with principals on school culture, as you see in the middle here. So there's a lot going on in terms of support teachers and administrators and students for instruction. I'm struggling today, huh? Wow, how about that? In terms of human resources, oh my gosh, Ms. Irvin, we didn't have an example of our newest brainchild of promoting human resources. Yeah, so if you can get that for me, I would greatly appreciate it. Held a substitute teacher training workshop on November 2nd. We're always in need of substitutes, shameless plug. If you're interested in doing this, please reach out to our human resources. You can also apply online, so we really encourage that. Attended Virginia Association of School Personnel Administrators Conference yesterday, or today and tomorrow, in order to have that networking, collaborative opportunities to attend breakout sessions and kind of the professional development part of HR. Also used newspaper outlets in Lynchburg, Amherst, and Nelson to post positions for vacancies, both paper and digital formats. So we're really trying to delve down avenues to increase the pool of applicants for numerous positions. We also started in-person check-ins with provisionally licensed instructional staff in order, we talk about the recruiting and retention of high-quality staff. Well, that requires some follow-up and check-ins to make sure that even our new teachers and staff are feeling comfortable and they feel like they have the tools to be successful. What you see in Ms. Irvin's hands is another effort to be able to promote and market Nelson County Public Schools, but also while you're at it, we're a walking billboard. So these are t-shirts that has a QR code. Walk up, put the QR code on there. It'll take you to an opportunity to, one, talk about join our team, but also what are the various opportunities and jobs that we have available. So I will take full responsibility for the lime color. I wanted that to stand out so no one's going to be able to ignore us. But also at recruiting fairs and other opportunities, just another extension of how we can promote and recruit individuals who will join our team. So thank you very much. Pupil personnel, Rockfish River participated in Disability History and Awareness Month, and where there was a collaborative effort with Charlottesville Cardinals and adaptive basketball team, and they visited each grade level at Rockfish to be able to participate and demonstrate the various things that they do. And that was a really great event, and I appreciate bringing that to our schools. Behavioral specialist, who is primarily supporting the elementary schools, started October 24th, and as Ms. Vest mentioned, there's been a lot of positive feedback about adding an additional support system, particularly when you can focus on elementary school, and Ms. Vest can focus on secondary. It really allows for that consistency and support level for not only students but also the teachers. Also participating in class observations, that's a capital CLASS, not just class observations, were completed for early childhood special education classrooms, which is a requirement for a lot of what we participate in for that grade level. Teaching staff is making excellent connections with our youngest learners. Wellness committee, this is something we talked about when I presented the comprehensive plan, is we talked about behaviors and mental health needs of the students, but also our staff. And so we're building up our wellness committee. I appreciate Ms. Reutinger working with Ms. Cannell to be able to broaden the concept of wellness from just food and nutrition to also the mental health and physical aspects of it. And so looking to build upon what our wellness committee will be, our mission statement, but also in the meantime, planning some activities and supports for our staff through Time for Me Thursdays. We'll begin December 7th with a yoga session that will be offered to all employees at 4 o'clock at NCHS. So trying to find those little things that we talk about, self-care, and we talk about all these different things. Well, we're trying to also present opportunities for people to participate in that. Technology, Promethean active panel updates, receiving all of these types of things. We have one AP to set up and move into the rooms. It's kind of like a lot of things is when you have your people who, in the beginning, I want my Promethean board, I know what it does, and I'm going to use it, and then other people are like, I'm really not sure. Well, then once we started getting those Promethean boards in various classrooms, we had people come back like, I would like one. I would like to do that. So Mr. Cargill and his informational technology team has been, really busy working with our administrators and our teachers to install them and then train people on how to use it. Cybersecurity updates, going to a multi-factor authentication phase 2, also with using cell phones. Anybody who's been paying attention to the news, cybersecurity attacks are everywhere. We want to make sure that we protect our most prized information because we have students, we have staff. There's a lot going on. We want to make sure that we make good decisions in promoting our cybersecurity. We've also been updating our security cameras. We updated the camera software systems at all the schools, and we continue to update our cameras. New projector system for the high school and the middle school auditorium is in the works, and we're working on installing that. And also a lot of work being done to Mr. Cargill's technology department work area to be able to support a soon forthcoming like help desk process that can be participated in by students to be able to learn how to fix the Chromebooks and learn life skills, employable skills, but also it provides a help to fix these items that sometimes they break. Maintenance, I know Mr. Campbell was able to run through some updates, but just kind of giving the rockfish repair, finally we're able to get that fully completed. The roof project is progressing with a projected end date of December, and really working with our administrators to let them know where the phases are and where they'll be moving so they can work with their teachers. If we have to relocate, we'll relocate, or if we have to work with the organization to say, now's not the time to do that part of the project, we need to do you later. I do appreciate, I had a meeting in the high school last night starting at about 5 o'clock, and I think we let out about 6:15, and they were still working. So they're finding creative ways to make sure that they use time where they may not be disturbing instruction, and I appreciate that. Our fire marshal inspection date was moved from October 30th to November 8th and 9th. So that's something all teachers love, is the fire marshal to come around. And it always happens right around holiday time. So it's always an interesting thing. And also the high school chiller, we still have a delivery date of March 2024. Transportation, I appreciate, I really do appreciate the collaborative efforts of all of our departments, but you see this a lot of times with our transportation, is they're willing to do whatever they can, not only to do the transportation piece, but is also to do the fun parts, because they see our students every day. They want to make sure that this is a great experience. And so they worked with Susan Cargill and her team to attend both the trunk or treat events at Rockfish and Tie River last month. And so they decorated the book bus and had a fantastic turnout with over 400 books being and candy being given out between the two events. I know that there are ideas in the works for the Christmas parade that will involve books and promoting that literacy and giving books away. So I love the integration of the fun and the literacy pieces to that, particularly through our transportation departments collaborating. During October, our transportation team covered about 5,500 miles across the state of Virginia, taking sports teams, academic trips, and students to various locations. So they are truly covering it all. Oops, sorry. Transportation is also working on obtaining quotes to have our chain hoist lifted to be installed. That's what you see on the right. We talked about last meeting, the big engine that we now have. Well, we need to put it in and we need to install it. Also, Mr. Ashley has a dual role of being able to serve as our division safety coordinator. So he is attending different safety conferences to make sure he's staying on top of that. So I appreciate that dedication. In terms of food and nutrition, cafeteria continues to serve locally purchased produce, and students get a real treat. They get these taste tests. On the left, you see fresh zucchini and squash, trying out different recipes to be able to, and the kids really enjoy it. I mean, I'm always amazed at, I'm thinking they're going to love the smoothies and the fruit, and fun tasting things, and they really, really enjoy the vegetables and the fruit. So I appreciate that. But how could you not enjoy it when you're getting it locally provided with all the wonderful produce that we have here in Nelson County? Rockfish had a spooky Halloween treat house. And one lucky student took home the original masterpiece home. Also, Tie River ladies dressed up for the nutrition van for trunk or treat. And the supervisor was able to attend a hands-on training, train the trainer conference out in Norfolk for the Culinary Institute. Our numbers for October were for breakfast meals, it kind of stems through September and October, but 13,096 breakfasts served, and then 20,421 lunches. So again, our students, if they go through the line, they don't pay for breakfast and they don't pay for lunch. And so it's another way that we try to support our students and our families. Community engagement events. A lot was going on throughout October. As you see all these different events, we appreciate the effort of the local sheriff's office to be able to go to our elementary schools and hand out candy, and through kind of an internal trunk or treat. We had a zombie run at Rockfish. We had a lot of different activities. You had the one-act play that was fantastic. So once we know more performances that will be able to take place, we want to be able to promote it because I highly recommend people taking an opportunity to be able to watch them. I had a great chance to go to the Addams Family at the middle school musical, and that was a lot of fun. I got to see Thursday night, the first night, so I know Friday was equally enjoyable. Spirit Night, I really appreciate through the Family Community Advisory, they're really trying to find out ways, how do we connect with our community, bring some funds in, but also take some funds to our local businesses. And so I appreciate Taylor Smack and some other places participating in this, where it was a Spirit Night. You go on those nights, you have your food, you get to sit there, and a percentage of those proceeds come back to us. And I just love that willingness to be so supportive of us and the hard work to get those set up. And we had Drive Your Tractor to School Day, which was a huge success again. Appreciate that, a lot of fun. That community engagement with the Cardinal basketball team. These are just reflections of all the different things. But as I told you earlier, if you want to see a picture of what pride looks like, see there in the middle, because that is, it's not always easy, but if you don't give up and you stick with it, there is success there for you. But I also point out that it's not just the student who has the look of pride, but the teacher and principal, because it is a collective effort, and sometimes it takes more effort in different ways. And so I just draw your attention to, there's a lot of successes, there's a lot of great things going on, and we really want to celebrate that, because that's our profile of a graduate. That's someone who didn't give up, and that's someone who worked hard through it, and then with the help of others found some internships, some other opportunities. So there's something there for them at the end of it, and that's what we're doing. That's our 13-year journey. That's that K through pre-K mindset, is this is where we want to end up, and this is how we build to get there. So I just appreciate those efforts, and I get the fun job of being able to present all these great things. So thank you very much.
That feels like the award part, too. You know what I mean? Like all day at this meeting, that's not like the award part.
Any questions for Dr. Hester in regards to her presentation, or any comments for her? Well done. Well done. Thank you. So we're at the items for action. We talked about the field trip request to England in 2025. So what we'll need is a motion to approve that field trip request for her to begin looking into it.
I'll make a motion to approve the request for a field trip to England in 2025.
Okay. Second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Anyone abstain? The field trip request is approved. So the next item for action is their draft 2023-2029 comprehensive plan, Pathways to Success. So this is actually approving that comprehensive plan, but remember that it's a living document, so we will add to it and adjust it as needed. So
And update we'll update the board on progress every year.
Yeah.
And make the necessary changes to that.
So are there, if barring any questions to Dr. Hester in regards to that document, if I can have a motion to approve that comprehensive plan?
I will move that we approve that comprehensive plan, and good job.
Second?
I second.
All those in favor of approving the comprehensive plan, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay, comprehensive plan is approved. So on the VSBA legislative positions, I'm going to call it each position. All I need to know is that we have a consensus to support or not support. So legislative position 1, do we as a board want to support that?
Support.
Support.
Yeah, I say support.
Okay. That's everybody in support. Legislative position 2.
Support.
I support that.
I support that also.
Okay. Everyone's in favor of supporting that. Legislative position 3.
Support.
I support that also.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, we should
Not a
have a
problem.
say.
Doesn't.
Yep. All right. So
Yeah.
the board will support that position. And then legislative position 4.
Support.
I support that.
I support it too, but it would be interesting to see how that ends up falling out. You know what I mean? I know it's just a legislative position. It's just gonna be interesting to see if that's ever even.
Can they do anything? And the
Yeah.
idea is to lobby for it, right? Like
Right,
basically all
right.
these positions
Yeah.
are lobbying positions, so.
That's.
I mean,
Step
truancy is a
one.
problem.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because the-
It's just, do we even want to go down this avenue? So to
Right.
speak?
Each judge has that in their mind the way it should work.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
And
But I appreciate what they're saying.
right,
Oh, definitely.
because there is really nothing we can do. So
Right.
at some point, they
Yeah.
need to do something about it, or somebody needs to do something about it.
And it's a start, like you're saying, it's a start to that conversation that we say. Yeah.
Yeah.
As Mr. Reed will do with his group this week, I mean, you just begin to say, these are the things that need to be looked at and adjusted.
And you know, when we want to talk about, like anything we would want to suggest for these legislative positions, either an adaptation of one that exists, or, you know, I think that conversation starts in February or March or something like that, so,
Yeah.
you know,
There's
I
a
think that
process
might
in-
be something that we would want to think about doing.
Agreed, agreed. And I think that's what it'll be interesting to see when Mr. Reed comes back, kind of the positions, if he can let us know sort of the things that you all as a group are focused on, and then we integrate that with what we're working on. I think it would be really good to hear that. Thank you. Okay, so our stance as a board then will be to support all 4 of the proposals that we will see next week. Thank you guys for that. And then now I need a motion to go into closed session for personnel reasons, please.
I move that the board go into closed session to discuss and consider the personnel report and other confidential personnel matters as authorized by Virginia Code 2.2-3711A1 for purposes of discussion or consideration of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of any public body.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? We're now in closed session. Thank you for doing the field trip. That's awesome.